Hello, I'm Li Hao. So today we're going to talk about two more magic global variable, which is $props and $restProps. So what are they? What are they used for? What are they good for? Well, we'll take a look at examples and I'm going to show you what are they for. Okay, so let's take a look at the example. So here I am trying to come up with a super nice button component. So maybe say you're a button library author and you write a very good button library and you come up with this button and you so that the user can pass in different kind of button, different types of button. So you can pass in a primary type or secondary type, which renders a very nice red and gray button for primary and secondary. Well, that's great. So let's take a look at how the button is implemented. Over here, we are actually using an actual button, but based on the button type, we create a different class for this button, right? And whatever is being passed into this button and whatever is passed in will be slotted into this slots element that we've written over here. So users can come over and say do different things to your button, maybe add some bold text, right? It's up to them. This looks fine, right? This looks great until someone requests new features to your button. Say, oh, I like your button, but can I add custom styles to your element, to your button component? Well, I say, yeah, sure. You can pass styles, right? You can pass styles like this. Let's see. Font size equals to 20 pixel, right? You can pass styles like this. Yes, but I have to handle it. So you go over to your button component and you export let style. You create a new props so that the user can pass that in. And after that, you have to pass the style to your button element as well. So you pass it around to your button element. And that's it. Now your button can have custom styles. Isn't that great? And then again, more requests comes. The user was happy, but now they want more. They want to say, I read about accessibility. I want to pass in ARIA label to my button because for some reason my text is X, but it's actually a closed button. I want the speech. Sorry, what's that called again? I want a screen reader. Yes, I want a screen reader to read out this button as a closed button. I want to say ARIA label for this is closed. Does that work? It does not work. I passed this property, but it does not work. So you say, let me think about it. Okay, I'm probably gonna say, how about I can't really name my prop as ARIA props. ARIA label, can't I? I can't do that, right? I probably will have to say ARIA label. No, it does not really work that way as well. So I will say, okay, I'm going to come up with a property called ARIA label. And I'm going to come over here and say ARIA label to this ARIA label. And now you should change it to this way, right? So you go and change your code. You add more props to your component, and sometimes you have to rename your component, and so that you can pass it, you can handle it and pass it to your button element. That's great, right? Again, user wants more. They want to do more thing with this button. They want to say, is it possible to pass in like on click to your button? Is it possible to pass in other attributes that is available for HTML elements, right? On click is available for HTML elements. ARIA label is available for HTML element. Style, and there's a lot of other HTML elements, HTML attributes that you can pass to button. I want to add them. They want to add it to the button and they want you to support it. And now you have a headache every time they come up with a new attribute. Someone invented a new attribute. You kind of have to think about, I need to add it to my props and then I need to pass it to my elements. So is there a way that you can do it once and for all? All right, let me just remove this. I think 3 attributes is enough to handle. It's kind of too much to handle. I feel. I'm not sure about you. Alright, so what should you do? Well, the $props and restProps is here to rescue. So what are they? Well, basically, $props. If you try to console $props, it's actually. I can't show it here. Why can't I? Let's see. No problem. I shall come over and just show it here. So $props is actually an object which is all the properties that you're being passed into this component. All of them. Right? So if you say style, area, label, and maybe you add class to it. Let's see, class A, B, C, all of them. You can even have like foo equals bar. All of the props that you're gonna pass in will be available as in the object called $props, and it will be reactive. So if you change your value over here, say for example, if a set timeout. So maybe your type initially is called primary, and then maybe 1 second later type becomes secondary. Let's see. Alright, then you see that it changes as well. The props itself is reactive, and that's great. So now you basically you have an object and you have an element that you want to apply an object of properties to it. What do? Well, you use a spread props. So over here, you try to spread over all the props that you have. Oops, that's that. So you can remove all of this and spread all of them to your button. Right? As you can see, your button itself now is big because you spread the style over. The button itself is now have an area label of close. So if you inspect the button element in the inspector, inspect it, you should see that the button itself has an area label of close. It has all the properties that you were passing into. It has all the properties that you're trying to pass to, right? The class, area label, the foo, the style name, type, and everything. Well, but we lost the color, aren't we? Right? So we kind of lost this the color of the button because we spread all the things over here, which include class. Let me remove this too, since we are not using it anymore. We spread everything over. The props include a property called class, so that class overrides whatever in the class over here, right? So that's too bad. You kind of spread everything that's being given by the button. So all the props that you can see, type, style, area, label, class, foo, are all spreaded to this, which is great, but not that great because first thing, you override the class because you already spread the class over and you overwrite it. A way of workaround is probably come over and reverse it. But if, say for example, in my app.svelte, I really do have a class called A. Okay, I should make it global because it does not mesh anything at the moment. Okay, global A, gonna make the font style to be italic. Now you don't see your buttons to be italic, don't you? But if you reverse this, you see your text is italic, but then you don't see your class button primary applied, aren't you? So what should we do about this? Maybe we should take out the class are we supposed to come over, spread over first, and then class, and then we add props.class, right? Is that how we should do? Yeah, probably, right? But then again, if you inspect element, you also see that the type is being spreaded onto this button as well. But we don't really need type, right? Type is something that we kind of invented for our components, that is just for us to decide what kind of class that we apply to the button, and we don't really need that type to be spreaded into the attribute of the button. So what should you do? Well, here comes restProps. So restProps, on the other hand, is the rest of the properties that are not defined as the properties. Okay, so props are whatever. So $props are whatever being passed over here, right? All the props that you pass over here are $props. And restProps are all of the props. So everything of $props minus the one that is declared as props. So type is declared as props. So you don't so $restProps itself will not have the type. Right? If I come over here and you inspect this button, you'll probably see that you probably won't see type. Whoops. Let me close this, drag it down. Yeah, you probably don't see type over here. Let me zoom in a bit so that if you can see it clearly. You don't see types over here. Right? Previously, if you use props instead, then you'll see that the type primary or secondary is being passed in. So restProps is great if you know some of the things that you don't want because you want to handle it differently. So you export them as props. At the same time, you want the rest of the things that are unknown, kind of like being specified to your being specified over here as a button that is unknown, but you want all of them collectively and then do something with it. Then restProps is great for that case. So I use restProps, and then I can also do this. I can define class as my props as well. Okay, class is this is tricky because class, I can't really use this as the class. Okay, I can't really do that. So so I can't kind of fix it with class, but we can show how about style, right? Let's just show about style. So say for example, I have a style over here and say color equals to green, right? You have a green text, and if you come over here and say I want to add other styles like font size, you probably see that the font size is being undoed, right? And because this style comes after the restProps. But if you reorder this, you see that the text itself is now no longer green. And if you want both of them, you probably will have to, like this way, you do $props and .class, right, to get it. But if you say export let style over here, then you extract the style away from restProps already, because restProps is what? It's all the things that are being passed as I shouldn't come over here. It's all the things that you're being passed as the props minus of whatever thing that you kind of declared over here. So you have type, style, area label, class foo minus type and style. So you get only area label, class, and foo, right? And now you can just get this and add it over here, right? Nicely done. And you can see you get a big text and a green text as well. So here, initially I was thinking of doing it for class, but then you can't really export let class. It's not a JavaScript, it's not a valid JavaScript syntax, so I'm just gonna leave it be. Right, so now you learn about restProps and props. You see, I think most of the time it's kind of useful when you want to spread all the attributes to your elements from a component props to spread all the unknown component props, known or unknown, mostly unknown, onto the component, from the component props to something else, right? For example, like the elements attributes. And let's take a look at another example so that you don't, let's try and see the different possibilities of using props or restProps. Here I'm going to create a component called joke because I found this joke API that can create jokes for us. Okay, so this API is called joke API.dev, and I'm going to come over here and copy it. So here I have, I'm going to call this API with await. Okay, I probably would want to just have a button to load, so just in case we don't hit the rate limiting. So I'm going to create button and I'm going to say load joke. Okay, so here I define a function called load joke. I'm going to call this API. And right now I'm going to call any joke with a single type. So here I'm going to async get response, await, and I'm going to console data equals await response.json. And let's see, what should I get from the data? Joke, right? I'm going to get a joke. So here I'm going to define a variable called joke. And I'm going to assign joke equals to data.joke. Okay, so every time when I load a joke, I will get a joke and I'm going to display it. So here is the joke. Okay, this is my joke component. I'm going to come over here and import this, import joke from joke.svelte. Okay, let me maybe remove this. Let's see where I'm going to use my joke over here. Okay, when I load the joke, you'll see that I get a new joke. Okay, so what does this gonna do with props? Can you please go to the point? Well, over here, if you take a look at the joke API, there's a lot of things that you can configure. And it doesn't make sense that you come over here and define all the different props that allows people to define for your joke, right? Sometimes you want to have joke that is maybe of type single, type single, or you want a type. Okay, no, let's not do single since we have done that. Let's do a two-part joke. So the type, if it's the type 2 parts, then you're gonna see a 2-part joke. Okay, and what else can we do for joke API? We can have flags to blacklist. So now I want a blacklist flags called NSFW, not safe for work. Okay, let's do that. Okay, what else can I pass to my joke API? Say, for example, I want a custom joke, maybe just a programming joke. So this is the type, it's the categories, right? So categories, it's called programming. Let's see, if I do miscellaneous, what happens? Okay, if I miscellaneous, I'm gonna have comma, right? So I'm gonna have programming and dark joke. So this is gonna be my dark and programming joke. Okay, so what else can I get? Different kind of configuration, amount of jokes. Oh, never mind. Language. Let's switch for a French joke. So language code is called French. Although I don't understand French, but let's try and do that. So language is French. Okay, so we have custom joke component with, I want to customize through the props. And I could have defined all the different possibilities, all the things that you can pass over here as an API, but I don't have to do that. I can say, I think I just need to define the categories, because the default categories that I can do, the default categories that I can have is called any, if I don't pass in anything. Okay, so now I can tick this, and I can use it to change my query params. So say, for example, if I come over here and I'm going to create, I'm going to use, what should I use? Props or restProps? Well, restProps, right? Because categories, I don't need it anymore as my query params. I only need restProps. So I'm gonna come over here and get my restProps. Okay, restProps. But I need to convert it to a URL search params. So I'm gonna say params equals to new URL search params. Do I get that correct? Not quite sure. Let me Google that for a while. Okay, yeah, URL search params. Yeah, okay, I need capitalized URL. Okay, search params, and let's insert all of them. So what I need is gonna append all the restProps. So gonna look through my look through the key in restProps, and I'm gonna append this, append key and the data. And I'm gonna get the toString to get my query params. Okay, so here I'm gonna say, oops, sorry. I need I need question mark. Come over here, question mark, params dot toString. Okay, what did I miss? Yeah, I don't miss anything. Okay, so now let's see. I have my custom joke that is dark and programming and 2 parts, and French joke, and I have another joke that is just dark. And what other languages that I can have? Say Portuguese joke, PT, which is just a single joke, 1 part joke. Okay, and let's try and run this. Load joke. Oh no, what's this? Ah man, let's see. Can't access data before initialization. Oh, this is key. This is not data. Okay, so I have a Portuguese joke. Hopefully it's loaded. No, please load the joke. What is happening? Let's see. Params dot toString. Load the joke. Yeah, that's correct. And probably I can't load any joke because, let's see, what do I get for data? Wait, there's no matching joke found. Okay, I don't have a Portuguese dark joke that is not safe for work. Let's try no blacklist flags. Let's try run this. No matching joke. Okay, probably just Portuguese joke with no categories. There's no such language. Oh no. Okay, how about just come back and get some German joke. DE. Oh man, that's so sad. Let's just use English joke. Okay, now I have an English joke. Right. Let's how about this one? I can have no matching joke found again. That is still so sad. I'm gonna use French with 2 parts joke. No? Okay, 2 parts. You have a setup and a delivery. Okay, so I am gonna just make it one thing. So joke. Okay, so let's see. What's the again? Probably I have the what's that type? 2 parts, right? So if data.type equals to 2 part, then the joke will be data.setup plus data.delivery. Just punch it in 1 sentences. If it's a single joke, then I'm gonna just do it this way. Okay, so load joke. I have a French 2 parts joke, and I can also have an English single joke. Okay, So here you see I can use restProps in anywhere I want. It does not have to be spread over as attributes on elements. I can use restProps or props as part of data when I want to fetch something, or I want to just use it in somewhere else. I can use it any way I like. So this opens up that I don't have to declare all the props over here. I can allow people to just define as many props as they want, and I used $props or restProps to access them. So if you have any questions or any new ideas that you can do with $props or restProps, comments down below. And as always, if you like my video, give me a thumbs up. And remember to subscribe to my channel so you get notified when the next one is out. So see ya, bye bye.